There's one type of IEM that I will always adore, my guilty pleasure if you will, and those IEMs are IEMs that have this very special quality called heady soundstage. The amount of treble that these IEM have give you this extra wide sense of soundstage that seems like it lives above the mid-range instruments, giving you this really satisfying brain-tickling sensation, while at the same time not being peaky in any way. It's a lot of treble that's built into all of these IEMs, but they somehow just sound so good. And in this video, we're going to be exploring all the IEMs that have this quality. Let's jump into it. Hey friends and treble lovers, welcome back to another video on Giz Audio. Today we have an unfortunately very short and quick video, because as I was researching for IEMs that have this quality, I quickly realized how very few of them are out there on the market. I think it's just due to the fact that it's just hard to achieve, because not only do you have to get the balance of upper mid-range and treble correctly, the treble also has to be a lot and smooth, which is not the two words you normally see together very often. A lot of IEMs have a lot of treble, but most of them end up being peaky, or IEMs with smoother treble presentation tend to not have a lot of treble. So again, very few IEMs can have both a ton of treble and at the same time not making your ears bleed. Now on the topic of treble, of course, like any other things, it's very subjective. And actually, I would go as far to say that treble is probably way more subjective than mid-range and bass is. Mainly because the anatomy difference from person to person highly affects the treble area more than the other frequencies. Basically, how each person perceives treble varies a lot more than mid-range and bass. Now, why is that important to mention in this video? It's important because a lot of these IEMs, although they're smooth sounding to me, they're not peaky to me, they can just as easily sound too much or too peaky for you. So with all of that disclaimer, I guess, out of the way, let's finally jump into the IEMs. And the first one, of course, being the Elysian's S12. Out of every planar that came out so far, S12 gives the most of this heady soundstage quality. I would say that the S12 clones that came out afterward, like the F1 Pro, the Keyfine's Clonar, they're more neutral version of the S12, so they don't really have the same heady soundstage quality that the S12 have. So if you want that quality, definitely still go for the original S12, not Z12, not S12 Pro, because both of those are also more neutral version of the S12. I've said for a very long time that I still prefer the original S12 over everything else that's similar to it. Next IEM is the IE200. In terms of heady soundstage and all those wonderful feelings that it gives, the IE200 is actually an upgrade over the S12. The treble on the IE200 is smoother while still giving off that exact same heady, wonderful feeling. One caveat to the IE200 though is that you do need to fix it up or mod it a little bit for it to sound perfect all the time. And if you want to know how to do that, watch my full review of the IE200. And the next IEM should be no surprise really, is the IE600, also from Sennheiser. The IE600 is basically a more premium and better sounding version of the IE200. They sound largely the same, it's just the IE600 has better upper mid-range, so better vocals, better instruments overall than the IE200. But as far as heady soundstage go, they both have that quality. Now, is it worth it to spend extra on the IE600 versus the IE200? I wouldn't say so unless you really have the money. If you have the money, sure, just get the IE600. It is the better one. But if you're looking to save a bit of money, you're really not missing out too much just getting the IE200. They're about like 85%, 90% the same. Next IEM is relatively new on the market, and that is the Dita Project M. Now, I don't want to say too much about this IEM just yet because I will do a full review of it sometime in the future, but just know that in terms of heady soundstage, it has that, and also it has pretty decent level of details as well. So I'll just leave it at that for now. Second to last IEM, yes, we really only have 5 IEMs for this video. Second to last IEM is QDC Anole VX. Now, in terms of technical sounding IEM, this is basically the king. You're not gonna get a more technical sound than Anole VX. And of course, it comes with that same heady soundstage goodness. At the same time though, I will say this can be a little bit peaky, even for me. So if you want a tamer down version of the Anole VX, you can get Gemini, or if you can find it on the market, you can get the SA6 Ultra, or Mark II would be okay as well. But I feel like Ultra does a better job of conveying this kind of heady soundstage because it has less bass overall. But if you can't afford the VX and Gemini, the best you can do would be the SA6 Mark II. But if you can afford it, if you're a rich boy, Anole VX is one of the most wowing IEM that I've tried, period. Even now in 2024, 3 years after I bought the VX initially. And last but not least, Subtonic Storm. Now, Subtonic Storm initially goes for $5,200 US, but the newer version of them is gonna cost about $1,000-ish more. So extra expensive. But yes, crazy pricing aside, it is legitimately one of the best IEM you can own, especially if you're a treble head, if you're a detail head, you want that heady soundstage wow factor, and at the same time the IEM sounds absolutely normal, like bass to mid-range sound pristine. Subtonic Storm is that. All right, that is it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. And you guys are probably wondering, hey Timmy, where is Annihilator from Elysian? Although I find the Annihilator treble to be the best on the planet, it doesn't really give off the same heady soundstage feeling that I'm trying to make a list out of. So that's why it's not in there. And with all that being said, of course, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out and bye.
君が笑うだけで何でもできる気がする一緒に